I'm Richard Cuff, and welcome to a special edition of the PS Factor. My guest and good friend, Mr. Harold Hobbs II.
Yeah.
Harold, welcome.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You are welcome. And listen, you are the first to get to try out our new location, the set here, and this is kind of prophetic because coming up, we're going to make a pretty big announcement about some more moves that we're making on the investment side.
Sure.
But that's where I want to begin the conversation.
It's a privilege. Thanks for having me.
Man, let me tell you, it's the insurance business is not an easy grind.
No, it's not.
But I know that I know a couple friends. I have a couple friends in the insurance business.
Sure.
Ain't nothing like those residual checks that come after you have been grinding for a minute.
That's absolutely correct. I mean, it's not an easy grind, but it is very rewarding in terms of the people and families we get to protect and help. And, we're generously compensated, by having residuals. So it's good.
Yeah, I love that. I remember one friend was retiring, and his annual, just go to the mailbox and pick up a check was like $78,000. I was like, good Lord.
A lot of hard work.
That was a lot. That's a lot. I remember back in the day, you're too young to remember this, but I love to tell people when they're too young.
That's fine. Okay? I'll get there one day.
Stick around there, young fella.
Yeah, sounds like I'm going to earn it.
Yeah. We used to have the independent life insurance policy. My mom used to have it hanging right by the door. And the insurance man would literally come by and collect that like $1.25 monthly policy. But back in the day, I grew up where that was important, especially to black families. We kind of gotten away from it.
Yes.
Let's talk about starting right there. If I have 6 pillars that I talk about of wealth. The first 3 are build, buy, and birth.
Right.
The first is to build your credit, buy a house, and then birth a business. But let's talk about that, birthing that business, because I feel like the very first business any family should start is to literally incorporate the family business.
I agree. I agree. Wouldn't it make sense to do that? Like you said, once they have built and established credit, have some cash, the next thing to do is to set your family up to be incorporated, right? And that may mean creating a trust, which you always should advise an attorney to do that. But I would agree, absolutely. It's one of the ways you can set yourself and your family up and your legacy up down the road.
There's a great book that I recommend and have been recommending in some of my social media posts. I've been doing a book review. It's called Wealth Secrets of the Affluent, Secrets to building success and asset protection.
Sure.
Building wealth and asset protection are really important. But one of those main keys that this book emphasizes is putting together that team of advisors, the right team.
Right.
And you basically touched on it, following the advice or advising an attorney when you're setting up a trust.
Absolutely.
But you're capable of talking to an individual about insurance.
All the time, right? And so in terms of insurance, we typically see this scenario play out a lot of times where you have people or families are a little bit more savvy, or sometimes people, who are not as savvy and not knowledgeable want the knowledge. They'll come to us and ask us about, well, how do I fund this trust, all right? I may have collected assets through real estate, through cash, but, does insurance play a role, in incorporating my family? And it absolutely does. And what most of us in our community don't know is that's how a lot of affluent people pass down wealth from another generation, by making the trust an owner of the actual policy. Right. And so other family members can get involved and write the policy or pay the premiums towards a policy that it's not going to outlive them. And so that the trust becomes the owner and they reap the death benefit when they pass away. In other words, the trust would be the beneficiary.
Absolutely. So what is happening with each death of each family member, it's adding to that trust.
Absolutely.
That amount is growing.
Absolutely.
And interest is accruing, and then the trust is able to buy other assets and create more wealth.
Absolutely.
We're facing a pivotal moment in the history of African Americans.
Yes.
Right now, we're sitting on 1.6 trillion. Can you say hallelujah?
Hallelujah.
1.6 trillion.
And going up.
And it's going up.
Yes.
It's like and I don't want to get into the politics of why we're having the conversations
Sure.
that we're having now with the, crossing out African American studies and all of that. I guarantee you the one thing that they ain't talking about canceling. Florida might be the place where woke comes to die, but it's damn sure ain't the place where our money comes to die, right?
That is definitely right.
So we got $1.6 trillion, and I don't hear anybody, none of them Republican politicians talk about we don't want your money.
That's crazy. That's right.
And what we need to recognize
Right.
is that we have $1.6 trillion in spending power
Sure.
right now. It's projected that by the end of 2024, 25,
Sure.
it'll be $1.8 trillion. By the end of 2027, $2 trillion of spending power.
Absolutely. That's so amazing. That is so amazing. It just to reiterate, is amazing time to be African American, right? We are kind of making up the back end for maybe how maybe our parents weren't able to take advantage of some of the things that we have today, and to see, this 2 or 3 generations, right, are basically my grandchildren to walk even into more wealth, right? So I'm glad, I'm ecstatic to be African American today and be a black owned business and to work with counterparts like you and my brothers and sisters into this amazing time. So,
well, I am excited because we have yet to show what we can do. I am in no way diminishing or dismissing the conversations that we need to have about race.
Sure.
and cultural issues and the statues and and racism and institutional racism and all those other things. We have to have those conversations.
Sure.
But they cannot be in a vacuum where we talk about nothing else but that.
Absolutely.
We're leaving out an amazing conversation that we should be having. I'll give you a perfect example. I started having the conversation of generational wealth
Sure.
with my son.
Right.
He was 8 years old.
All right.
God told me to anoint his head with oil and,
Right.
and bless him with everything you got.
My son's 8, so
Okay, so
we have to anoint them after
we're gonna
this.
go
Yeah.
anoint his head with oil.
Right.
I anointed his head with oil, and
Right.
and every day, I kid you not, or at least every week, we had some kind of conversation about what his responsibility is with the wealth
Sure.
that has now been handed over to him.
Absolutely.
Even though you're 8 years old, Cameron, I've given you everything. It's yours, right?
Absolutely.
And it comes with responsibility. Cameron was 9.5 years old. He said, now he fully understood it. He said,
Sure.
Dad, I can't wait till you die. I'm like, what?
In a good way.
And he was like, no, I don't mean like I
Right.
wish you were dead.
Absolutely.
He says, I can't wait till you die because I know that when you die, I get to take all your money
Sure.
and put it together with my money and give it to my son.
Sure.
And he gets to take that money and give it to his son.
Absolutely.
And he gets to take that. And he was excited about generational wealth.
Absolutely.
I think this is a great opportunity for us to get our children excited about what's to come,
Sure.
as opposed to spending all of our energy educating them on what has happened, what they did to us, why, what was happening in the past.
Sure.
What happened in the past is in the past.
Sure.
And we'll find ways to honor the memory.
Sure.
But if we don't focus on what's right around the corner and the opportunities that exist, we're going to miss some great opportunities to invest.
And I think that's why you and I share a kindred spirit, because I am passionate about educating not only the people here, but also the next generation on how to handle wealth responsibly, right? If it's given without responsibility, without lessons, we may, it won't work out very well, right? But with being able to educate my 8-year-old son about how money works, about how wealth is, and my son already knows about life insurance because that's what his daddy does.
Yes.
My son already has life insurance, right? My family as a whole has life insurance with our trust, and my wife has it. So we share the same sentiments where my son knows he's going to be taken care of. Now the point is, now all we have to do now is to make sure that he fulfills that destiny. But when my son graduates in college and starts his own family and has kids, he'll now be able to pass that on to his children. And now we've created momentum in the Hobbs family, right? So that my grandchildren, or my great grandchildren, whether I see them or not, I've already started that wave of momentum of creating wealth in our family. And next thing you know, you have 5 generations or 10 generations of my family that are all taken care of because it all started with one person's decision on being able to teach responsibility down the line to my kid.
let me tell you, there are three main things you're going to hear me talk about
Sure.
all the time: group economics, political alliances,
Yes.
and generational wealth.
Yes.
What I'm going to do is we're going to end this segment, guys. I want you to hang around because we're going to do part 2 of this conversation with my good friend Harold Hobbs II.
Absolutely.
And let's give some contact information about your company and
Sure.
how individuals can reach you.
Sure. So I'm really one Google search away. I have a pretty uncommon name,
Yeah.
Hobbs. So if you just Google the Hobbs Agency, I should show up. You can find me on my website at thehobbsagency.com, or you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and that's it for right now. Right.
All right. So there you go, guys. You hear it. Thehobbsagency.com. Check out my man, Harold Hobbs II, and hang around. We're going to post a video. You'll see part 2 somewhere floating around on the website or whatever. But till next time, I'm Richard Cuff. Take care.